5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
This is the Culture Clash.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome, everybody, to a very special edition of the Culture Clash here on the Fandom Podcast Network. I am your host for tonight's activities for Mando Grogu. There might be blue cookies, there might not. We haven't decided yet. Of course, I'm Kyle, the co-founder of the Fandom Podcast Network, and we are going to have a lot of fun tonight. I am here with my proper co-host for this podcast, Grogu. However, I have a little problem. Grogu doesn't speak that much, and I really need some other people's opinions. Luckily, not only do I have a co-host, I have a whole rebellion worth of co-hosts for this podcast because everybody wanted to be part of it, and that's fine. We love it here. But I got to kick things off with introducing my normal co-host, my co-founder of the Fandom Podcast Network, the one, the only, Kevin Djarin Reitzel.
What's going on, buddy? Good to see you. And I got my Burger King Grogu.
Oh, wait. Let's look at you looking sharp with your Grogu.
There you go. And you pulled it. You popped the ears out there. Yeah, my daughter Camille, she taught me about these, so I got one of those there. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Well, guys, this is our reaction show for the Mandalorian and Grogu. We're really excited. Grogu's all set. He's got his popcorn. But you know what? This is Culture Clash on the Fandom Podcast Network, the flagship show of the Fandom Podcast Network. And we want to thank you for joining us. And if you're watching live on YouTube right now, you scan that QR code on your screen. It's going to take you to our homepage at fpnet.podbean.com, where we have over 10 years worth of podcasts. That's right, 10 years. That's a lot of podcasts. Kevin, I'm wondering why my throat's been hurting a little lately.
Yeah, and we're bringing several back with under the label of Fandom Podcast Network Classics. We're releasing old audio podcasts for people to listen to and some video as well. So check it out.
Having a little fun with that. And of course, these two handsome guys are your hosts for the evening. So we got nothing with that. I think, though, Grogu would beat us out in ratings, Kevin.
It's very true, yes.
But we are here to talk about Mandalorian and Grogu. And you know what? Kevin's here. I'm here, but we got a whole cast of rebellious people here, New Republicans, whatever you want to call them. So let's get some introductions going in. Kevin, why don't you introduce our first guest, because she's made a return to the Fandom Podcast Network recently, and you have a special connection with this one.
Yeah, let's go ahead and introduce my daughter Camille, who recently came on to talk about our full season reaction to Maul Shadow Lord. And not only did Camille, you also marathoned all of Mandalorian season 1 through 3, also Book of Boba Fett, and you're just finished up Ahsoka. Welcome. How are you?
Yeah, thank you. I was working like a dog for this. I'm very happy to be back, and very appropriately, I have my giant Grogu with me, and I also have my little General Grievous, so I am ready.
Nice.
Kevin, I'm going to introduce our next guest because it ties into this. We have been talking other Star Wars stuff here on the Fandom Podcast Network too, including Maul Shadow Lord. Kevin and I covered it on a Culture Clash, but that doesn't mean what a piece of junk, and those guys over there aren't covering it too. And we can't talk anything Star Wars, especially this big, without at least having one member of the Drunken Gungan on the show. Please welcome from What a Piece of Junk, Mr. Derek Marsh.
Evening, everyone.
How are you doing, sir? Scott Captain Botman let you have the Drunken Gungan for a night? I know he's out partying, celebrating his birthday, but
yes, yeah, that's part of the joke, right? Since we've got some Star Wars back in May, that's always the best time for Scott and the crew down there. I was actually going to be planning down to make the trip for South Carolina this weekend, but just some personal things came up where I wasn't able to pivot, but then that allowed me to be available for this evening's recording. So super excited to share a review of The Mandalorian and Grogu. They've obviously watched it all down there, and when they get back after the holiday weekend, we'll be planning to do our recording and reaction show as well. But going to get it out a little early today.
And if I'm not mistaken, I'm looking at your shirt right now. That seems Mandalorian appropriate for this episode.
Very much. Yeah, it's the bounty hunter.
Nice.
80s, and then you turn it around, and then you got the soccer jersey for Boba Fett.
There we go.
There we go.
Looking good.
So,
Well,
there we
guys, we have more. Yeah, the Grogu brings out a lot, doesn't he, Kevin? Everybody wants
He does.
wants
It's
some
very
Grogu.
We're like the
including-
Grogu Protection Squad.
Yeah. Well, we can't talk about this movie without the queen of movie foo. I mean, it's just impossible. Making her return to Culture Clash, the one and only queen of movie foo, Miss Lacey Adderhold.
Hello.
Are you teaching some Grogu food this week?
Well, I was just used to every time you say movie foo, I end up for some reason my hands just do this. I don't know.
Kevin, we still have more guests here. One that you're associated with when it comes into immortality. You want to introduce him in?
Yes, one of the shows that we have on the network is our Bloody Kings Highlander podcast. I'd like to welcome our my co-host of Bloody Kings, Mr. Lee Fillingsis, aka Broba Fett. What's up, buddy?
What's up, everybody? How we doing? So,
Hey, hello.
Camille, nice to meet you. I've heard a lot
You as
about
well.
and you have a voice for podcasting. I like it.
Oh, thank you.
Now, Kyle, you said something earlier, and I'm also Kevin's podcast co-host. I would never call him normal. What is going on in your world?
Well, that depends on what your definition of normal is for me. So
That's true. Yes.
How weird is your world is normal? I mean, love you, buddy. But
I don't think nerds and normality can exist within the same place.
there's too much frostbite in my brain from all my years on Hoth. I'm just saying. We aren't done yet though, because we have one more special guest, and we, in his case, maybe we saved the best for last, or I don't know. Maybe it's just because I think he might have blue cookies. My friend, he's known as Comic Ronin on Instagram, Mr. Steve Brown, and his blue cookies.
Nice.
Well, hello there.
General Kenobi.
He's got the Grogu Nilla Nummies.
Nilla Nummies. Hey guys.
Well, we also got some friends in the chat too. We got Isaiah there. We also got Travis Mitchell. Welcome, guys. Appreciate you.
Yeah, always glad. If you're in the chat watching this, please join in the chat. We love to get your thoughts throughout the show. Please chime in. We love everybody participating in the show. And like I said, we are here to talk about the Mandalorian and Grogu. This is a reaction show, so I think we might need to get this out of the way here real quick. Spoilers are a coming, as somebody once said. From this point on, we are in spoiler territory for the Mandalorian and Grogu. So let's get things going here on Culture Clash with our special of review, thoughts, all the good stuff here on Mandalorian and Grogu. Now, Kevin, you had a question you wanted to ask everybody right out of the gate. And you brought your army of Mandalorians and stormtroopers with you.
Yeah, one of the things that we do when we talk about movies and events like this, we want to know how you saw it and what you did. Some people see it different ways, whether it's IMAX or 3D or regular or whatever. And then some people also do special events. And I'll start off by saying I went on Thursday night preview night. I bought tickets back to back for a 3D showing and then an IMAX showing. I would have done the 3D IMAX, but it was only one showing at like 10 o'clock at night, and I had to work the next morning. And then the next night, actual opening night, which was the Friday, I got together with my 501st members, and what we did was we trooped that night, and we got in and took some picture opportunities there, which was a lot of fun. Hold on, Kyle, let me show it here. There we go. And it was a lot of fun. We had a good group. We also had another group go down to another theater that I saw the IMAX at, and they did a similar thing too. And we had a friend Jeremy repping there as Din Djarin. My friend Scott was Boba Fett, and we had a nice little fun group there. We had good picture opportunities and stuff. So, and then I went back Saturday to I went down to an AMC, and I decided to see it in 3D again because I wanted to see what AMC had there for popcorn buckets as well. But we'll talk about that later. But Steve, how did you watch the movie for the first time? Where'd you go?
I went Friday afternoon. I took the day off from work. Me and my girl, Kristen, went about an hour north of here to catch the closest IMAX. We don't have it anymore in our town. So IMAX 3D. It wasn't the greatest IMAX screen, but the visuals were great, and it's like a 4:00 showing, and it was pretty packed. Yeah.
Kyle, let's go to you real quick. How'd you see it?
I drove down Thursday night for the one of the preview showings. It's about the same theater Steve went to, but I didn't do the IMAX because it was by the time I got to tickets, it was already sold out. But they have a huge Dolby Atmos theater there with the huge digital screen and the Dolby sound blowing you out of your chair, and it was phenomenal. And what's really nice about that theater is it has the big cushy super recliners, so when you kind of lean back, you're kind of looking a little bit up at the screen too, which is
nice,
which is fun. And yeah, I was in a packed house. The theater was, if it wasn't sold out, it was close to. And they had a showing prior to mine, and I got to the theater, I could see a lot of people who were there. I had a lot of lightsabers walking out of that theater. I'm saying.
Camille, how about you? Where did you see it?
I saw it just today at a movie tavern. I was originally going to see it in 3D, but a little something came up, and so I rescheduled to a little later showing. So sadly, I did not get to see it in 3D. I'm really hoping to get back out and see it in 3D. But I saw it today just in time for the pod because I had a convention yesterday and day before.
Awesome. Very cool. All right, Derek, what about you? How did you see and how many times did you see it?
Well, I had plans, obviously, as I mentioned, to go to ScottCon down in North Carolina, South Carolina for Scott's birthday. We were going to get tickets for this past Friday evening, and my intent was to drive down Friday morning for the weekend, holiday weekend. So that left Thursday open. So I ended up going to a movie tavern, the local one here. It's where I always go. Love it, right? They got the recliners. They got, great bar food and drinks if you want to. And so just went with a friend. The wife and kiddo weren't 100%. Sophia loves, Baby Yoda, as she calls him. But obviously at this point, she still hasn't watched the whole thing. And she was kind of like, So, getting her gradually into, to movies. She's seen a few last year, and this recently we went and saw the Super Mario Galaxy movie, had a good time with that, but this was something she wasn't. So went to the 6:30 showing. And then to be honest, I was going to potentially see it Friday if I really thought it was worth it. Spoiler, I did not. So that can give you a little inclination when we get into talking about it. But yeah, saw it Thursday. Was super, super glad to get it back into the theater to see a Star Wars movie.
Nice. Lacey, how did you see it recently?
I binge watched with Camille. We binge watched together and did season 1 and 2 of Mandalorian. Then we kind of scattered off because we had weird schedules. So I watched Book of Boba Fett and then Mandalorian season 3. I finished the last episode of Mandalorian season 3 at 2:15, and I was at the movie theater by 2:45.
Nice.
That's timing. That's a timing skill right there.
Do what? Yeah. So, and I saw it at a Regal, not one of the updated Regals. I have a thing about people because they just can't be off their phones. And so I sacrificed the upscale theaters with the recliners in order to go and have a peaceful film experience, because the theater I go to has, like, for instance, there were 2 people at the end of my row, a lady down like 6 rows in front of me, and then there was a group of like 4 people over to the side. That was it.
Nice.
Plus me. And it was fantastic. No interruptions, no people in the way. It didn't get too hot. It's nice.
All right, cool. Lee, all right. Boba Fett, how did you see it? Where did you see that?
I saw it at a movie theater that I've done a lot of film festivals at over the last few years. They're doing a fan event. It came with some special swag. They had a little kind of a scavenger hunt, but really it was just like, hey, find this picture and we'll give you a bag of popcorn. And that was about all it was, but it was kind of fun. And then I saw it with my dad, who I saw all the original movies with, and most of the rest of them. Saw him with them there. I also had my best friend from college, who is one of my fight monkeys, the stunt team that I work with, as well as another guy. The 3 of us had worked on a couple different Star Wars projects over the years, including one for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Then, let's see, I just had my good friend Emily over, and her friend Farah, and we just kind of sat there, enjoyed it, and laughed the whole time.
Fantastic. That's awesome. You just reminded me something, Lee, that I wanted to share was this picture of me and my troop up over there on the left on the Imperial officer. That is the Arlington Theater. That is the same theater that I saw the original Star Wars back in 1977 when I was 6 going on 7. So it was a comes full circle sort of situation there, which was cool. And after hearing all of you guys talk about how you saw it, what I'm getting is that I was the only one that saw it 4 times.
Yeah, sounds about right for you.
Yeah, no,
I have friends, so I
You're
could see
actually
them
off your
anytime.
Force Awakens pace there, Kevin. So
I can't say much. I was at a convention, so I was still nerding out.
and I wasn't about to go and see it on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday of Memorial Day weekend. Like too many people.
Yep.
Kevin, I got somebody who's wants to intervene here. This guy wants to know about popcorn buckets.
Ah, yes, Mr.
Oh yeah, the one
Grogu.
that he has is lame. He needs a stylish popcorn bucket.
Much more stylish. Talk about missing a marketing opportunity.
I know, right? Yeah, look at that. He's got his little popcorn munchies there. Now, someone was saying that they're selling this popcorn at Galaxy's Edge. Is that
they
true?
sell it at Galaxy's Edge at both Disneyland and Disney World, so you can get it there.
Gotcha. All right. Well, let me get the slideshow here. So, AMC and I know Regal and of course Cinemark were kind of doing their own little things here. If you look at the video there on the left, AMC had their popcorn buckets, and sharing with the same AT-AT walker, the Cinemark also had theirs, and they had their own version too. And I went to an AMC and I picked up a few items as well that I did not pick. And what I really hate, and I don't know if this happens to you guys, do you guys have theaters that start selling it like 2 weeks in advance, and then when the movie comes out, they sell out? They don't have any left for when the movie's actually opening. Well,
I think
one of my Cinemark theaters does that, and I hate them for that.
I think the problem though is, Kevin, I usually still can get them because the prices on these things have gone so sky high.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
and
They
people
used to
just can't
sell out
afford it.
at-
I mean, $90 I think was the AT-AT, and I think that's just a that's
Yeah,
a
it was like
little
$80
insane.
or $90. And
Yeah.
so
yeah, it's 79.
I did get the let me guys show you this. I did get the Grogu from Cinemark. You open up the back and you put his thing in there, but he's almost like life size, so I thought he was pretty cute. I did get the big Mandalorian with Grogu on his shoulder as well, and again you open up the back and there it goes. But at Cinemark, this is the cup, the sipper, which is the Mandalorian helmet that I wanted to get. And you pop it open, you pour your drink in there. So I thought that was cool. But AMC, in my mind, had the coolest things. They had this version of the Mandalorian Grogu cup, and then they had one that had just Grogu with a really cool heavy topper that you put your straw through in the back. I thought this one was really cool. But my favorite popcorn bucket is this one here, which is the actual Mandalorian helmet. And you pop it up right here, and boom, all the popcorn goes in there. But it's like almost the size of a real Mandalorian bucket. And it's
Kevin, are you going to
shiny.
walk around in your Raider nerd armor eating popcorn out of that bucket?
That's actually a darn good idea, Kyle. Don't you make fun of me. You make fun of me, but I might do it. So yeah.
If you turn the popcorn pink somehow, you could say that you're eating the Mandalorian's brains or something.
I know, right? Yeah.
These were $4.95.
Vanilla Grogu's. Lacey.
You legit have like $250 worth of popcorn buckets just from this one movie.
I was gonna say, so what I'm hearing is you're a massive nerd.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw the popcorn buckets, and I when they were $30, I was like, oh, these are fun, and I started collecting them. I liked the popcorn buckets, but I did not like them. The two that I had, the Mandalorian with the Grogu on his shoulder, was $70, and
There was
$80.
There
and I
was
like,
one. There was one that I did pass up. If you look at the picture here, it's the one on the left there with Grogu and the little Paran.
the hover.
Yeah, I didn't really care for that one. I preferred the Mando helmet instead. And then, of course, I didn't get the big walker. That thing's just, I don't like this. I don't like the look of those AT-AT walker heads. They're not like the ones from Hoth and stuff like that from the OT trilogy. So yeah.
Since we're talking about popcorn buckets, Steve, you had some vanilla wafers there.
Mhm.
Let's talk about some of the other merchandise here, because Lacey, I know you just have picked up a bunch of stuff merchandise-wise for Mandalorian.
I did. I am a Lego nerd. So, and I have not put them together yet. My rule is if there's merch that comes out before a film, I'll order it, but I don't look at any of like the specifics beforehand because action figures can give away stuff, right? So, and I'm lucky that I didn't because I got this one.
The
Yay.
N1 Starfighter. Nice.
One. Nice. And then I got dun, 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 dun.
The new Razor Crest.
Yeah.
Dope.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, very exciting, very exciting. I guess the pictures on the back are fun.
So it comes with what characters does it come with?
So this one
I see Zeb.
Yes, this one comes with Zeb, Mandalorian, Grogu, International Remnant Stormtrooper, and Colonel Ward. So
Nice.
it's a Weaver. The N1 comes with let's see.
That might not come with a figure. That's
I
one
don't
of those.
think it has a figure.
Yeah, I
don't
think it's just a ship on that
no,
one.
it does. It's got Mando and
Grogu.
Grogu, and then this guy is the New Republic X-wing Starfighter, and that's got spoiler Captain Ward in her flight gear, and Carson Teva, and then the New Republic astromech.
Nice.
R2, yeah. I think it was R7. I think I could be wrong. I did get the dark saber, but I did already put that together, and that's upstairs, and I forgot to bring it down. So
That's quite all right.
yes.
So, well, we have
Lee's
a lot of
talking.
things. Lee, you got something to interject there?
Oh yeah, just on the popcorn buckets. I saw this about a half hour ago at the parks. They now have a BD7 popcorn bucket. It's like life size of those new little BD droids that they had in the movie, and you just pop it in the back. And I want one.
Nice.
Well,
You
Well,
all are
guys-
making me wish I had adult money to spend on these things.
I still don't have a
Me
dog.
too.
But guys, that a lot of cool things coming out from Mando and Grogu. But you know what? We are going to here to talk about the movie too. So let's get into that. One last chance for spoiler warning, spoiler alerts. We are definitely getting into the heart of the movie now. So if you have not had a chance to see Mandalorian and Grogu, what are you doing? You should be going to see it opening weekend.
Get out!
Get out, see it, come back, join us on the YouTube, or what if you're listening on the audio version of this show as well. But we're going to get into it. Let's talk some Mandalorian and Grogu. Mr. Reisel, can I get you to pull the holocron and help us out with a little plot analysis here?
You got it, sir. All right. So we got the plot summary here for The Mandalorian and Grogu. We start with the New Republic contract. Following the fall of the Empire, Din Djarin takes on work as an independent contractor, hunting down Imperial war criminals for their fledgling New Republic. The Hutt deal. Colonel Ward asked Mando with locating a mysterious Imperial leader, Commander Coin. The New Republic only has the intel in exchange for a favor to the Hutt twins. They must rescue Jabba the Hutt's surviving son, Rotta. The arena on Shikari. Din Djarin and Grogu travel to the moon of Shikari, only to discover that Rotta is a popular gladiator in a fighting pit. Rotta refuses to be rescued, looking to win his own freedom in the ring. But the fighting pit owner, Janu, actually intends for Rotta's next fight to be his execution. The showdown. Mando and Grogu face unexpected danger trying to save Rotta, battling underworld forces and navigating complex ties between remnant Imperial operatives and crime syndicates in the Outer Rim. As
Lots
we're
of
going through the slides here, Kyle.
Yep, lots of things here, but I want to get some first reactions from everybody here. What you went, we've all seen it, so I want to get some first reactions here. Kevin, you've already seen it 4 times. I think you should kick off just by yeoman's work alone.
Okay, I'll kind of keep it short and simple. I was I had concerns going into this. I did keep expectations at a minimum here. I was expecting something, a little bit bigger than maybe a couple episodes of The Mandalorian. I went in and I enjoyed myself. It was good to see it in 3D, although it wasn't like a big 3D gimmicky movie. But I did enjoy it. There's a lot of good character moments in it. There were some things that I felt that they kind of missed out on. I was wondering if it was going to be like a big CG fest there, but they did shoot on a little bit on location. They did shoot some really cool sets and stuff like that. There was a lot of kind of dark stuff going on, not dark as in content, but like dark lighting. So I kind of had little issues with that. But overall, though, I did enjoy the movie.
I agree with you, Kevin. I'm just going to be kind here and just go real quick with my thoughts. I went in, the only expectation and hopes I had for this were, am I going to have fun? And I had a blast. And I think that was the most important thing for this. There were a few things I had some issues with. There was a couple of times where I thought the effects got just a little bit wonky. You could tell they were in a volume, or it just wasn't quite as fleshed out as that. We'll get into one of the other things about this movie later in one of our plot topics on the show. But I think this was a very fun Star Wars experience. I think that I think if you're going in with the idea you're getting something epic Star Wars, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. But what this is fun Star Wars, and we haven't had fun Star Wars in a good bit. And I think that this really hit the head for that, and it was a blast. But
it was fun. I did want to say that I had fun.
But you know what? We've got a whole bunch of people here that need to talk about this. And Steve, what were your first impressions of Mandalorian and Grogu?
I loved it. Again, the key word obviously is fun. I had certain expectations, and it wasn't as predictable as I thought it was going to be. There were certain things I thought they would do that they didn't do. And, you had to just kind of remove yourself from 3 seasons of Mando and Grogu and just enjoy the adventure that they're on. And, right out of the gate, I thought the action and the environment was super cool. I loved being inside the AT-AT for our first time. I give it a thumbs up, but I think we've got too many of these movies now to continue ranking them. The Empire, this, that. I don't want to rank this movie because I don't personally know where the hell I'd put it, but I really had fun and really enjoyed it. I will go see it again, possibly tomorrow. I'll definitely see it twice at the theater. I don't need to see it 4 times like some kook, but anyway, who's next?
Derek, I gotta get what a piece of junk take from this.
Well, I will say I think Scott is getting pretty close to seeing it 4 times, Kevin. So if you're going to see it some more, you can keep pace ahead of him. By the end of this holiday weekend, he will have seen it at least 4, if not 5 times. So at least somebody from the show really enjoyed it. And again, I can't speak for Nathan. Myself, when I walked away, I said, "Hey, it's a movie." But personally, my expectations for it was I was hoping for at least Solo level. I think Kevin and Kyle, we've talked many times. I love Solo. I think Solo got a bad rap, in the time of the sequel trilogy and what that was doing with the toxicity of the Star Wars fandom. And I think it gets a bad rep, but that movie I think is just truly, when you're talking about fun, guys, right? What you're doing that. I will say I don't dislike the movie. I don't hate it. I thought it was a good movie. I just felt overall, though, it still felt short of where I would have liked to see it at that Solo level. I will say this one thing. There wasn't anything that the spoilers didn't show me at this point in the movie. I was pretty disappointed in the way Disney is handling that. There's quite a few iconic scenes that we could have gotten out of that, but we were spoiled, right? And let's be honest, I'm not going to shut myself off from the internet for 3 months to not, try and escape that, which is pretty sad, considering, Disney Plus, Star Wars, Disney, every Facebook thing I follow, it's pushing the ads, right? Because it's your logarithm and everything. So unfortunately, there wasn't anything that, like I said, was kind of a wow moment like we got with Solo, for example, and a couple of iconic scenes. Again, fun. enjoyed it, but at the end of the day, isn't something that I'm necessarily harping to go see a second or third time. Not to say I won't watch it on TV, but from a big theater experience, I think it fell a little flat.
Lee, what about you? I saw you had some comments about this on Facebook that I agreed with. What were your thoughts?
I think this was really fun, and this is the kind of Star Wars movie I've been hoping for a while. I think sometimes they get too caught up in being the big sweeping epic that we kind of lose the fun parts of it. A lot of people have made the comment that this feels like playing in the toy chest, and it's like, yeah, these are a lot of the toys, some of the toys that only dorks like us had, the Man and the the KST4 or the INT4. But I like that it was kept small scale. I like that it kept within kind of the original premise of the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian before it got way too big. While still living in that world, we kind of have the aftermath of all the stuff that they did. But I really did enjoy it. And just coming from a fight choreographer's standpoint, I really enjoyed the fights. I thought those were some of the best, definitely the best non-lightsaber fights we've seen, and up there with some of the best.
Very good. Lacey and Camille, I saved you guys for last because you guys did something that none of us here, I think, actually did. You marathon Mandalorian before you went to see the movie, so everything was really fresh in your mind from the TV show experience to going into the movie. So, Camille, do you think that helped your appreciation for the film more? And what did you think of the film?
Yes, because I'm just going to be very honest here. As an autistic person, if I was watching the movie where I hadn't seen Mandalorian, the TV show, for years, I would constantly be going, wait, when did this happen? What's that character for? What does this do? When did that happen? So I'm glad that I caught up on everything. I was very delighted to see a lot of the comebacks from a lot of characters, and this was genuinely the most fun that I've had at a movie in a really long time. I do understand the people who say, I do understand the mixed reviews on it, because I understand that Rotta took up a very large beginning portion of the movie. So if you haven't seen the character before from Clone Wars, I understand if it kind of seems like they pulled him out of nowhere, because it's I came here to see Mandalorian and Grogu. Why are we focusing on the random Hutt? So I get the reviews on that side of things. I also agree with what Kevin said, where sometimes it's a little bit too dark to see what's going on. There were definitely some points where I was like, well, what is he fighting? What is he punching? What part of it is he punching? I couldn't tell. But aside from that, lovely experience. Really hope to see it in 3D. Overall, I had a very positive experience.
That is great. Glad to hear this, Camille. And Lacey, you did the full marathon, as you said, right up until it was time to go to the theater. So
I did. I will say, as far as the show is concerned, I don't understand why the Book of Boba Fett was called the Book of Boba Fett. Because it was 3 episodes about Boba Fett and then 4 episodes about the Mandalorian and Grogu. So, all right, whatever. I really don't understand why it wasn't just 4 seasons of Mandalorian. Okay. But I will say that doing the binge of it all, I think I had seen the first 2 episodes, and then something happened with my DVR or something. I don't remember what happened, but life. And so I just hadn't checked it out. And so I got the steel books. So I figured I watch them on the big screen and it's gonna be awesome. And it was great. I went from the very last scene of Mandalorian and Grogu where it felt like the wide sweeping John Ford film. And the last shot was him, at the house on the homestead with Grogu in the front playing with the frog. To this, basically it was kind of John Wick meets Blade Runner meets The Rundown is the only way I can kind of in Star Wars land, and I love all of those things. So I was not disappointed. I did not see any spoilers for anything because I don't do internets that much. I'm not on the Facebooks or any of that kind of thing. So there were a bunch of things that I was like, oh, that, ooh, so I got a lot of fun, aha moments. And we'll talk about those, I'm sure, as we move along.
Yep, absolutely. Well, guys, that's everybody's kind of first reaction.
Camille had something there.
What's that?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I forgot to mention, I like that. I didn't think that Grogu could get any more animated, but I think he was a lot more animated and lively in this. Like, I like the scene near the beginning where they had to get out of the AT-AT really quickly because it was about to blow up, and Grogu's like banging on Mandalorian's helmet. It was because he's a puppet, so they can move his hand as fast as they want to. But I just wanted to say I liked how we not only see Grogu more animated, but he seemed a little bit more mature in the film as well. And I liked seeing the character development on him too. That's just what I wanted to say.
Good point.
I think there was that was one of the points of this, was to have a lot of growth for Grogu. And we're going to talk more about these things as we get on later. Lacey?
He went from temper tantrum toddler to driven toddler. So, because he's always been like the temper tantrum, kind of doing, watching that kind of thing, to the food driven toddler. So it's just all about food. Yeah.
The only thing is that there was the moment of the revenge of the frog in this movie. So I'm curious to see how that's going to affect his frog appetite going forward. But guys, we got a lot more stuff to cover, and you know what? We have some fun Star Wars trivia for Mandalorian and Grogu. So let's go ahead and trivia some Easter eggs here. We do have plenty of Star Wars trivia here. This first one, though, I think is very appropriate because you can't talk about The Mandalorian without missing Carl Weathers. And there is an airbrush tribute to the late Carl Weathers and a nod to the Galaxy's Edge in this film. Arriving on Shikari, Din Djarin and Grogu search a neon-covered city for Rotta. In the background of a few scenes, a couple of Easter eggs can be translated from the Star Wars alphabet known as Arabesh. One sign reads Batu Bar, the planet from Disneyland's Galaxy's Edge, while another sign reads Weathers Apollo, a tribute to the late actor Carl Weathers, who played Greef Karga in the Mandalorian series and Apollo Creed in the Rocky films. Kevin, I'm just going to say this. You had to sneak Greef in this film one way or the other, and I'm so glad they took an opportunity to do so.
Yeah, I'm still missing the loss of Carl Weathers as Greef Karga. Really miss him.
Yeah, it was one of the things that was a little hard, but there's a lot of great tie-ins to original Star Wars in this film, and this is probably, Kevin, my favorite, and that is a Djarik match.
My favorite too.
Lord Jano reveals that Rotta is meant to die, with his final fight being a legendary Djarik match. Djarik is the hollow chess game with little creatures that Chewbacca and C-3PO play in A New Hope. However, this version is much bigger and far more dangerous thanks to Janu having collected all the real-life monsters the pieces are based on from across the galaxy. Even the arena itself is patterned after the circular hollow chessboard. How many of you guys actually caught that in the film? I got to ask the panel, Lacey.
Well, yeah, I was sitting there, and when the first time you see it walk out, I was like, oh, fun pattern. Oh, that pattern. And then when you start pulling all the, the characters, I was like, oh, yeah.
You also have to realize too, especially where Derek and I come from, the Star Wars collectible card game, because these characters that you saw on the game board were also in the card game. And a lot of the times you first heard the names of these characters through the Star Wars collectible card game. Yeah. And I believe all of these were represented in that movie, right, Derek?
Yeah.
And also, they're one of the takedowns between two of the non-Mandalorian and Rotta. Like, that was actually like shot for shot the takedown from right before
the video game. Yes, yeah.
Right before somebody.
It was the body slam.
Chewie and 3PO when they were playing each other.
We should have let the Wookiee win. Yeah.
Come on. I gotta go craft the panel real quick. Come on, you all know when you want to play this in real life. You want to be those monsters.
Well, I think it was. Wait, hold on. I think it was. I don't know if it was you, Derek, or someone bought the wood version one with the chess pieces from Galaxy's Edge, and then I went online because I couldn't go to Galaxy's Edge, and I purchased it off eBay, and I have it sitting in my den. There's an actual chessboard version that you could play, which is pretty cool.
The ultimate game of space chess. Who needs the 3D chess from Star Trek? Really? Yeah. This piece of trivia is one I had to get out. It's the INT-4 interceptor. Commander Barrow tries and fails to escape Din in an IT-4, a unique Imperial craft that that very much looks like an AT-ST cockpit with wings based on the classic Kenner toy models, including the Star Wars franchise tradition in the modern era, bringing Kenner vehicles to existing canon like the K-79 S-80 Imperial Troop Transport. I love this. I had this toy when I was a kid. I had the AT-AT. I loved storing it in the AT-AT. I just thought this was a cool toy, and to actually finally see it on screen, Kevin, it gave me some feels. I just got to
this is stuff that I think Jon Favreau geeks up about, because these were these weird toys that you got, but they were never in the movie. You never saw them in use. And then he even brought the troop transport toy that was not in the original series into the Mandalorian series. And it was just great to see this toy, and we got to see it in action as a little ship that flies out of the body of the AT-AT.
Yeah, it was very cool. Cool. I got a question for the panel here. We have this toy. We've seen a couple other things. Is there a toy from Star Wars that you haven't seen up on screen yet that you would love to see them actually take the toy and put it into practical use here? Derek, you want a piece of junk guy's got to have one.
I don't have a whole lot of that anymore, unfortunately, but no, I mean, it was just, I did definitely chuckle with quite a bit of the versions. I do have an AT-RT somewhere in the back here from the Star Wars Legion, tabletop or war game, whatever you want to call it, where they have those. So, and I know that they're releasing some of the Mandalorian push to have its own faction. So they do have that coming out for the game, but yeah, I don't have any.
They should release all of the Jarek as figures, separate figures now.
That'd be cool too.
Yeah.
What about you, Steve? You have a figure or vehicle you remember from Star Wars toys as a kid?
No, I mean, I never seen that before. I thought it was something new that they created for the movie. So I mean, the space chess I picked up immediately, but that little escape pod that he had and got shot down in, I never saw that. I'm like, that's kind of cool. Yeah.
What about you, Lee?
Like you, I had the INT4 when I was a kid. It was one of the little jewels because you could take it on road trips, so you could kind of fly it around when you're sitting in the back seat. But if I was going to have something put on, there's two choices for me. First, the White Witch from the Droids cartoon would be a lot of fun. And then
wait. Are you talking about the vehicle speeder thing?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Not a character called the White Witch. You're talking about
the speeder. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And then
I know what you're talking about. That's a good one.
Yeah. The Outrider would be fun to see. Going head to head again. So,
Camille,
I just wanted to say, since Kevin, you mentioned that they should make toys of the Djarin animals. I think that'd be really funny considering the names of them, because imagine telling your mom, I want a for Christmas.
Yeah, a geek.
Why do I see like a special black edition Djarin set coming out or something like that? Kevin, I know which toy you want, but I don't know if they're ready to cross the G.I. Joe universe into the Star Wars universe, because I know you need a sci-fi to ride on your dewback.
I've already got that. I've got a sci-fi here and a dewback, so I'm good.
Lacey, is there a toy you remember from Star Wars that you might want?
No, I kind of agree with Steve. I don't. I didn't really have anything specific that I want to see, but when I did see those, my first thought was, oh, it's like he decided to come up with some jet skis. Jet skis is what it felt like. Like like when you're on a boat and they hook up to the back the little CD.
Walker jet ski is I would call it.
Yeah, AT-AT jet skis, little sea-doos.
Yeah, there we go. Well, guys, the other fun thing that happens when you are involved in Star Wars is when you're a director, you get to put yourself in the movies, because and when you're Mandalorian directors, they make sure you get in the movies, because as seen in the officers' bar, multiple Adelphi Rangers can be seen drinking and talking, many of them having been first featured in The Mandalorian. Likewise, several of these pilots are played by directors of various Mandalorian episodes, including new Lucasfilm head Dave Filoni as Trapper Wolf.
You mean Nathan?
What's that?
It's Nathan.
Oh yeah, well, it's Nathan Miracle, but
Dave Filoni.
Yeah, we like to let him keep his anonymity, fame. He likes to keep it down. But you also have Deborah Chow as Sash Ketter and Rick Flamuia's Jib Dodger. Pays to be a director in Star Wars, Kevin.
It does, definitely. Yeah.
But we have some more trivia. Kevin, I'm going to hand over the book of trivia to you for these next few pieces of trivia.
All right. Some of these are just observations as well. A lot of people may have known this, but Martin Scorsese was a Star Wars character.
Mm-hmm.
Legendary director Martin Scorsese voices the four-armed Ardenian fry cook named Hugo Durant. As such, it's more than likely that Hugo Durant is related to Rio Durant, the Ardenian creature in Solo's A Star Wars Story, who was voiced by Jon Favreau.
What you got next for us, Kevin?
All right, this one I thought was really cool. It's like, okay, so wait a minute. He gets a new Razor Crest, but what about his hot rod? Well, he's still got it. Din Djarin's custom N1 Naboo starfighter makes an appearance, parked right next to his new ride, the new version of the Razor Crest. Near the homestead, Din's custom N1 Naboo starfighter, which he built between the Mandalorian season 2 and 3 in the Book of Boba Fett, is shown, confirming that the impressively fast starfighter is still around. Who says a guy can't have two awesome ships? Damn right.
I'm going to say his starship insurance has got to be through the roof.
I know, right?
Lee?
Can I just say that Mando is living that single dad life? He's got the reliable family car. He's got the hot rod. He's got the man cave. He's got, good visitation schedule with the kid. I think he's living the dream, gentlemen.
Definitely. He is definitely living the dream and getting paid very well. So, yeah. Next, we have this. Anzellans join the fun. More Anzellan friends arrive to help Din make modifications to his new Razor Crest. Babu Frick was the first Anzellan who debuted in The Rise of Skywalker. I got one of these guys right here. Even more Anzellans made appearances in Mandalorian season 3. Also, the Jetsons flying car engine. If you didn't notice, the engine of the Anzellans mini speeder sounds exactly like the flying car from the Jetsons.
Okay, and, I just got to say this real quick. This tag team, this group of Grogu and the Anzellans, they stole the movie. Let's be honest.
The lowercase A team.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, the horrible baby.
Well, he's even got the red stripe.
And it was Babu Frick, Shirley Henderson doing the voice for all of them again.
Yes. Yeah.
Moaning Myrtle?
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Good call.
Yeah. Bad baby.
This was one of my
bad baby.
The Amani warriors, the alien species originally in the background of Jabba's palace, Return of the Jedi. Several Amani warriors attack Din in the water-filled pit below the twins' throne room. This I noticed right away. They kind of have this little cobra head, and I had this action figure from the Jabba's, one of the creatures from the Jabba's palace. Denizen, and you can see him. He's technically, I think the Amanaman character was another bounty hunter, and you can see him briefly in certain scenes in the movie. And you also had that cool Power of the Force original figure with the collector's coin as well. That was one of my favorite Easter eggs, is seeing the Amanaman be fierce.
Well
that
said. Was trivia that Kevin and I came across, but I'm going to give everybody a chance here. If there's we got a bunch of really great Star Wars fans here. Is there any trivia that you saw in there, or Easter eggs? That we didn't mention? Derek, come on, you guys are the encyclopedia of Star Wars.
I mean, obviously we had it when Din got captured and he was facing the twins, and they lowered the pit, right? And it was just the Rancor reenactment scene there. But we got it with a white snake dragon. And then obviously we had Baby Yoda, who's obviously Bob the Builder, because he was able to build a replica Yoda hut in record time, in less than 12 hours. And then obviously, he's trying to cram him in there, and he's got the little light. So if you remember the little light, that's what Yoda was trying to take, and he was saying, during the Dagobah scene when Luke first sees him. So just overall, I mean, there's all these little Easter eggs throughout it. Obviously, quite a bit in the opening scene. You guys mentioned some of it. And then there was obviously some really cool with the snow troopers in the AT-ATs, and then where they were able to have them take out just like Luke did and going underneath and doing some fun stuff with those.
So
Two things real quick I wanted to mention was you talked about the dragon snake. We saw that originally in the Phantom Menace and Naboo when they're flying or they're going through the water. And then we also got to see a snow version of a mouse droid, which I thought was really, really cool.
Other thing, little piece of Easter egg trivia for those of you who might not have been paying attention. Sam Witwer still continuing the yeoman's work for Star Wars voices because he was the voice of the several stormtroopers and snowtroopers in this movie. So
you saw the snowtroopers without that snow mask. You got to actually see their mask underneath it. Yeah, there you go. There you go, Steve.
Yeah.
Camille, I know Anthony Daniels too. Anthony Daniels was once again.
Yeah, he had a voice as one of the the droid control voice or something?
Yeah, control. Like that? Something. Yeah.
Camille.
Yeah. There was a Clone Wars reference that I know you want to talk about about our favorite new Hutt, maybe, or at least
yes,
fighting Hutt.
Yes, but before I do, just as we were talking about Star Wars toys, I just figured I'd show mine. I know it's not a really old one or anything. I know this has been in the movies, but Kevin got this for me, so I went and grabbed it real quick.
You want to mention what it is for the listeners?
I forget the name of it, but it's the one that goes, ooh! It's the creature that goes like that.
That was really good.
Thank you.
Kenobi Road in
With the boat? Is that the name of it?
Revenge of the Sith.
I used to do that noise all the time when we were watching the movies. You remember that?
Yeah.
I would keep going, ooh!
Yeah. Camille does some good Star Wars impressions.
I can do a Tusken Raider, but I will not do that for the sake of people's ears right now.
Can you do Bill Hader doing Bill Hader as a Tauntaun? That's where you wrote it.
Camille, there was a Clone Wars. I mean, and we did get to see a little hollow of that as well. So
I think that was really funny because I feel like Rotta looked a lot uglier in the Clone Wars, and I think that added to his charm. But I think it was really cool because Rotta is originally a character from the first Clone Wars movie, the first 2.5D, I guess, animated Clone Wars movie. And originally what happens is Rotta, I think, kind of gets kidnapped, I believe, by the Separatists. And Jabba, I think, I think the Jedi actually kind of step in to try and go find Rotta so that they can build an alliance with the Hutts. And then the Separatists try and make it look like the Jedi are going to kill Rotta, but then Jabba finds out, and so he gets really mad at the Separatists. But yeah, Rotta is a character from that, and so it was really interesting to see him all grown up, and also, to see him I think in general, it's so cool that we have a Hutt character now that's muscular, that can move a lot. And it's just so interesting that we see a Hutt character that's not this big, crime boss asshole that's going to cut your head off if you do something wrong. I think it's really interesting that we get a more humanized kind of Hutt character that people can maybe relate to a little bit more. And I think it's really nice that they explored his character. It's interesting too because when they find him in the Clone Wars, Ahsoka goes, "Oh, he's so cute," and then Anakin says, "Well, wait, you see what he grows into," and now we have that. So,
I just want to add on to that too. I'm like, Grogu has a new big brother protector as well.
Yeah, I love those scenes so much.
Derek, you wanted to say something? Go.
I was going to say, we know for a fact Rotta's got to skip leg day, right?
Yeah. Lee, you got something?
Go ahead, Lee.
He doesn't skip leg day; he skips legs day. But I was going to say it was interesting to see Rotta actually following in his father's footsteps, because in the Tales from Jabba's Palace, when they have the story told by Yakface, they actually talk about how Jabba was a fighter in his youth. And so,
I did not know that.
Yeah, so
that's from one of the original Legends books that I believe I have.
Nice.
Yeah.
But there's also a few fun ones. The HH-87, which was the little star interceptor craft that they had on Nal Hutta. That actually goes back to Clone Wars, but it also was one of the original sketch designs for the Imperial shuttle, and I believe kind of influenced the little mini pod skiff that they made for Return of the Jedi.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that.
But kind of cool seeing that. And of course, the live action introduction of the assassin droids. I've only seen those in animation before. That was pretty cool.
Steve, you had your hand up?
What did everybody think of Jeremy Allen White voicing Rotta?
Can we wait till we answer that to get to the actual character section?
Okay, I thought she brought up Rotta, so I thought we were
We'll bring that up. Yeah.
Any other trivia or any Easter eggs, Lacey? Anything that you saw?
Love the purse, love the shoes, love everything. I was just in it for the.
Camille has her.
I had one time, so I haven't gone back to look for all the nits and picks.
Yep. Steve, you have one more thing?
Well, you did have Grogu walking with a cane, a stick.
Yeah.
Very Yoda-like. Yeah.
Yep. It makes you wonder. It's like, there's some basic instinct there with Yoda as well.
Camille,
We'll grow into it.
All I just wanted to say was it was also really damn cool to hear the Hutt voices in the theaters, because as someone who's like really into sound design and voice work, I think it's so cool how the Hutt voices are layered, how they have that one like deeper voice underneath. And it was so nice to hear that in a theater where you could like hear the voices and feel them. And it really kind of made you feel like, you were sitting in front of the twins, hearing them talk to you. And that was one of my favorite parts of the experience. And I can't wait to like, when it comes out on Disney Plus, I'm just going to turn my volume up way high and shove my headphones into my ears so that I can hear it really good.
That's cool.
One last thing, the planet that they find Rotta on, Shikari, which was the heaven planet from Star Trek V.
There you
Shakari.
go. Well, guys, let's talk about the cast and crew. We had an absolute phenomenal cast in this. Of course, we had Pedro Pascal returning as the Mandalorian, but of course, there's a little bit more to the Mandalorian than just Pedro Pascal, because you also have Brendan Wayne and Lateef Crowder as the on-set doubles for the Mandalorian. You have Grogu returning, of course. I'm going to talk about that. Of course, him being the young Ward, pretty much created via animatronics, and you can definitely see the difference between animatronics just over the few years here, guys. I want to ask you that: how impressive was Grogu as far as the effect of Grogu in this movie, and how they developed him as a character in this? Derek, I saw you putting 2 thumbs up there. Give me your thoughts here.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys or for the listeners, if anyone knows, if you follow us on What a Piece of Junk Facebook group, I mean, I've been posting stuff the past 2 weeks with what basically they've, made Grogu almost lifelike at all the premieres, talk shows, all that stuff. So it's super cool what they're doing with the animatronics, with the puppeteering. So, just overall, it to the point we were talking about earlier, it's just almost lifelike, where you can just put the puppet there and you would be taken back to the days of Frank Oz with Yoda, right? The only thing that isn't quite the same, right, is he's not speaking so much to say, but he does that with almost kind of like a Mr. Bean level of movements and actions that he's great at storytelling. And I think that was definitely the biggest thing that I loved about this movie was, even on the big screen, right? Because we've talked about this before. Sometimes things on the big screen are almost a distraction because you can see the detail, right? But the fact that it is, the physical puppet, other than just the few scenes where he does his quick jump up into something, or when he's in his little Easter basket and he's doing his little high-speed chase there. Otherwise, it is beautiful. I love it when they're dealing with the real things and not so much CGI. Unlike the other end, which you got Rotta the Hutt, which I almost thought was too much of a distraction. It wasn't quite as the level of like special edition Jabba, which was really bad. But it's really hard to do giant huts, slimy, mildewy, and all that stuff where you just harken back to the days of the Return of the Jedi and being young as when I was watching that, lifelike versus nowadays. But anyways, no, the puppeteering of Baby Yoda Grogu was phenomenal.
Yeah. Kevin, I want to talk about.
Hold on, Lacey has a comment.
Yeah, Lacey.
If you watch the special features on the first season of Mandalorian, that is all thanks to Werner Herzog.
Yeah.
Because they had a lifelike, something to to just fill the scene. They were planning on going CGI and just having the lifelike piece, for a stand-in. And he said that Favreau said, well, okay, we need to cut and do a plate. He said, what are you talking about? He said, well, we're going to do CG. And he said he turned on the Werner Herzog and everybody said, yes, sir. And afterwards they were like, you know what? He's right. Let's just go with the puppets.
Camille?
Yeah, I just wanted to say with in terms of like puppets and stuff like that, I know that I don't have the same like original Star Wars nostalgia as people here who saw, when they were growing up and stuff like that. But I recall when Kevin told me, oh yeah, the puppet Yoda has a very special place in my heart over CGI Yoda. And I really like CGI Yoda, but I noticed when I was watching Book of Boba Fett and I saw the CGI Rancor, I was thinking to myself, it's just not the same as the stop motion Rancor. So I'm starting to understand that a little bit.
You're growing up, Camille. Kevin, I want to talk to you about The Mandalorian, but Pedro does a phenomenal job. We all know that, but I think there's a couple other people that you specifically wanted to discuss when it comes to Din Djarin.
Yeah, my MVP goes to Brendan Wayne and Lateef Crowder. If you're looking at the picture here, on the left is Brendan, on the right is Lateef. And Brendan is the grandson of famous Western actor John Wayne. And he's the one that you probably see most of the time. He's the stand-in for when Din is kind of walking around and chatting people up. But he does a little bit of fighting too. But then when it comes to the actual like hardcore fighting, we got Lateef Crowder, who's a accomplished martial artist as well. These guys have brought the Mandalorian and stood in for them most of the time. Let's be honest. Most of the time, it's not Pedro in that outfit that you see. You hear his voice and you see him when helmets are removed, but it's mostly Brendan and Lateef. And I think these guys are the real MVP and unsung heroes. And I'm really glad that they're getting center stage now. I'm glad that they're in the front, in the main credits, and they're getting asked to go to conventions and sign autographs and get pictures taken with them. I love the fact that that not only is they getting a lot of love, but Pedro is giving them just the same amount of credit that they deserve. And I think it's great. And these guys get my MVP of the cast for what they've done and what they've done with this movie. Lee,
you have thoughts on this?
Yeah, I want to kind of mirror what Kevin said and kind of compare it to the original Darth Vader. Because originally we just said David Prowse, and then we added in Empire, they started giving James Earl Jones credit, but they never gave Bob Anderson credit for all the fights, which is a significant part of what we remember Vader for, especially with how limited his screen time is in episode 4. But the thing that I find great about these two guys is Brendan Wayne worked with Favreau in Cowboys and Aliens, which is a movie that flopped. I loved it. And Lateef Crowder worked with Pedro in Kingsman 2, which also flopped, but I loved it. And they're bringing these guys along. They recognize talent, even though the movie didn't do well. They bring these guys in to play for them. And there's only a couple times where you can tell, oh, that's definitely Lateef. But, I mean, the transitions, I mean, it is very much, you can see that it could have been, for the most part, it could have been Pedro Pascal. But the synthesis that these guys came up with as a physical performer of stunts and fights as well as an actor, it's pretty impressive what these three guys came up with together.
Yeah, they did a phenomenal job with that. Steve, you asked about Jeremy Allen White as Rotta the Hutt. I'm curious too what your thoughts were on him voicing Rotta, because I'll be honest with you, it was a little disconcerting. It was a little strange hearing Carmy from the bear coming out of a hut. I'm just gonna say it.
Well, I knew that Jeremy Allen White was in the movie, and I didn't dive too deep into the casting. You know, also not just trying not to know too much going into the movie. And I have to admit, when Rotta first started talking, I was a little taken aback by his vocals and his sound and his English.
And is very good at basic, yes.
Yeah, and I have to admit, and this is kind of wild. I'm like, I recognize that voice. Who is that? Brendan Fraser? And I'm like, that would be horrible typecasting to have him play a Hutt. after he played the big guy in The Whale. And I'm like, who is that? And then then it dawned on me later. Oh yeah, Jeremy Allen White is the actor. And then it grew on me. I liked it, but I mean, it was cool, and it was cool to get him in. I thought that maybe that was an opportunity for Grogu to say yes, chef, something like that. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
Camille, you got?
Yeah, I kind of forgot that. Up until this point, again, if you haven't seen Clone Wars, Hutts speaking Basic is like unheard of because they always speak Huttese because they don't think that to them it's like, well, we don't need to speak Basic, we have our own language. Right. So I completely forgot that up until now, like the only Hutt that we really heard speak Basic, I'm pretty sure, is Zero the Hutt, and he was mostly in the Clone Wars. So if you haven't seen Clone Wars, you would have I think it would be kind of a shock when you randomly heard one of the twins just suddenly start speaking normal Basic.
Yeah.
Lacey.
I was just gonna say it was interesting. The first couple of lines that Rotta had really brought me back to Lip Gallagher from Shameless, because all he wanted to do was get out from under his father's shadow and his reputation in Shameless for 8 seasons or 9, however many seasons Shameless went on. And that's when I recognized him, because I knew he was going to be in it, but I didn't know who he was going to play. And when the first thing he said where he says, "I'm nothing like my father," I was like, "Oh, that's Lip." That's Jeremy Allen White. Oh my gosh.
I really enjoyed Rotta in this movie. And when you start hearing him speak more, especially when he says, "I'm not my father," I think he is intentionally speaking Basic because he doesn't want to, be anything like his father, because his father did speak Huttese all the time. We would see obviously the closed caption of what Jabba was saying, but I really got attached to Rotta the Hutt in what he went through, and I love the friendship that he eventually became with Grogu and the Mandalorian, and what became of him at the end with the New Republic. And I really enjoyed that scene when they're down by the beach and they're playing with Grogu, and you see Mando just kind of looking down, kind of proud a little bit, that I know that I can trust this guy, and I can also trust the life of my little one with him.
No, but the best thing was when he was sleeping on Rotta's snoring and little, just
and then he goes like, I'm up.
What do you mean? Do you know how to do that? I don't know how to do that. We don't know how to do that.
Yeah. They really are like brothers. They look at each other and neither of them know what to do, and they're like, oh no.
Camille, do you have something else you want to interject there?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I completely agree with you, Kevin. Because like I said as well, with Hutts, they kind of speak Huttese because they see themselves as like up here. And so I think that Rotta doesn't want to put himself up here. He wants to be down here where everybody else is, and he's okay with that. And I like that part of his character too, because, I noticed the very first thing he says is in Huttese, because he says, "Are you here to kill me?" Mm-hmm. And then I think that's when Din Djarin says, "No, I'm here to free you." And then he goes back to speaking Basic. So maybe he was kind of on his guard for a moment, and he maybe thought that he had to kind of put up that Hutt facade, and then he kind of went off of it.
The other thing too is there is a little bit of a gangster moment or mob moment in this film when he knows that because he's the heir of Jabba the Hutt, people will not look at the twins as the true heir until Rotta is killed. And so I like that was thrown in there. Lee?
I was going to say, with the speaking Huttese, I kind of saw it as them basically just changing the language in scene so that the audience, much the same way that they did in Hunt for Red October and with 13th Warrior.
Great call out there. Yeah, great call out there.
The one disappointment I had is nobody called him Punky Muffin or Stinky.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Were you going to call? When you look at him now, were you really going to call him?
He's so swole. You're not going to call him Stinky.
Yeah, exactly.
Jabba would love to be reunited with his little hunky muffin.
Well, before Kevin mentioned his
Hunky
MVP.
Muffin.
Kevin mentioned his MVP here, and I have one other question. I want to just get a quick answer from the panel before we start going through who our MVPs were, because Steve and I had this conversation a little bit earlier, and I'm curious to know what you guys think. Did they miss an opportunity by not having Grogu speak his first word in this movie? Like 1 minute, maybe just Steve, you brought up the point of like when you have the scene when Rotta's leaving and he's talking about how great a dad he has, and maybe Grogu looking up and just saying "dad" or something at man.
Yeah, I probably would have cried, but then I later would have thought that was unnecessary.
I'm on that side as well.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think? Should he have said a word in this film, or should he have done what they had done? Kevin,
My answer is no. I'm glad they didn't.
Derek.
I mean, if they were going to do it, they would have done it here, right? Because that would have made everybody then come more to the movie theaters because they could have blasted it on it. But I have a different perspective. I don't think Baby Yoda is ever going to talk. I think they're going to use him to represent some type of different aspect for children that can't talk. And they always do representation in Star Wars with that. So I don't think he ever will, to be honest.
Camille?
Yeah, I kind of agree with what the majority is saying right now. I don't think, but specifically, I don't really think there was really a moment. You know, I don't know if there was really like a super special Grogu moment. I know that, you know, his moments with Din Djarin while he was poisoned, those were really sweet, but I don't know if there was really it's really time for Grogu to say something moment. And I really like the point that was brought up about how maybe Grogu can be a little subtle, understanding towards non-speaking or non-verbal children. And I don't know. I feel like I prefer the baby babble through Grogu. I feel like that's just part of his character by now. Like at most we'll get a little patu or a whap here and there. And I think that's kind of it. And I'm happy with that because I think it's part of the dynamic that Din Djarin understands him so well. Because, you know, honestly, I kind of feel that way. And this is in no way meant to be offensive or anything, but I know several people around my age who with disabilities, it's more difficult for them to speak. And it's genuinely a very charming experience spending more time with them and learning to understand a little bit more. And so I like that aspect of Grogu because you just got to learn him. You just got to spend more time with him and you can understand more. And I do think that's a very charming aspect of his character because it creates the bond.
Lee?
Well said, Camille. That's a very insightful thing. And I think it also speaks to Grogu's character, the trauma that he's been through. I mean,
that's a very good point as well.
Being a prisoner, slave, whatever he was before he got rescued, and then he was almost sold again. But I think from a performance standpoint, I don't think they should, because the challenge for performing the Mandalorian is having dialogue and movement without facial expression.
And it's something they pull off really well.
Yeah. And the challenge with performing Grogu is having facial expression to a huge degree and some physical movement, but without dialogue. And I think it enriches both of their characters beyond, you know, once you take Mando's helmet off, it wasn't shocking at this point. You know, if it had never happened before, it would have been shocking in this movie, but it wasn't for any of us. But I think that would be kind of bad if they did.
Lacey?
I will say he also did already speak a little bit in season 3 when they gave him the droid. When Carl Weathers gave him the droid that Mando didn't want him to have, and he was running around saying no.
Yes.
So there's a communication factor without having to speak,
that can also. Okay, sorry.
I think that also contributes to the concept that being nonverbal doesnn't mean you can't communicate.
That's
what I was going to say.
Let's get to your character MVPs. Kyle, who do you want to go next?
Well, I'll just say mine real quick. Grogu is my MVP of this film. He's the heart of this film. He was about 20-minute section of this film where Grogu's kind of on his own, and what we're going through with that is he's taking care of Mando after he's been poisoned. I thought was my favorite part of the film, to be honest, and it says something too. I think, you know, the Grogu popularity thing had died off a little just because it had been so long, and I think it's going to be right there again after this film. And like I said, he was the heart of this film. I think he's what we relate to in this film, and what we worry about him, we care about him. I think he was the MVP of this film. Lee, who was your MVP?
I'm trying to remember the name, but the the bounty hunter that catches him.
Embo.
Imbo.
Embo.
Embo.
Yes. Yeah, that was just such a fun little shout out to one of the great Clone Wars arcs, but also a really good and unique fight. Using that helmet or the sampan hat that he is. He's using a Okinawan weapon called Kama versus the short swords. It was really fun, and it allowed for a really good adversary on the same level as Mando. We haven't really had that before. We've had a whole bunch of bad guys that he can shoot because he's got all this armor, but now he's got somebody that's armored, maybe not as well, but can move better than him. So it was really fun to see a nice, even fight that was hard for him.
Steve, what about you? Who's your MVP?
Well, he's not my MVP, but I got real excited when I saw Zeb. I got emotional. I knew he was in the movie, but he actually had a pretty good role, so that got me excited. But my MVP is actually that character Gattori, the swamp dwelling guy that helps create the medicine that basically saved Mando's life.
A fish.
And
You mean the fisherman?
And I felt that there was sort of almost like Grogu was sort of learning, maybe living in the swamp kind of thing from this character. And I'd love to see some background because we've never seen that character. That is a new character. I think I'd like to know more. I like the actor, the character actor, Stephen McKinley Henderson, that did the voice work for that character. I like that actor a lot. And I just thought, what an interesting character, just kind of lives in the swamp, chilling, and really ended up being a pivotal, important part of the movie. So kind of obscure. But I thought the character was cool. Gattori.
Camille, who's your MVP?
I gotta go with Rotta. It was just so nice to see all that character progression and things like that. It was really nice to see him again. See the bond between him and Grogu and the differences in their journeys and things like that. Plus, also, I always say that really nice animation is like my personal eye candy. So this was just eye candy the entire time. The fight with him and the twins was so cool. I like how there was some kind of almost like elephant seal kind of mechanics there with the slamming, and I liked Rotta's roll move that he could do. But yeah, no, I definitely have to go with Rotta.
Lacey, who's your MVP?
I gotta say, I'm surprised that no one has shouted out Sigourney Weaver yet. Colonel Ward. Ward? Yeah, Ward. I love Grogu. Obviously, the Mandalorians are great. I do dig the Swamp Guy. Swamp Guy was awesome. He had kind of a Miyagi-esque kind of feel to him. And I like the fact that he took his own life into his own hands when the bounty hunter comes up and he didn't shiver at all. He protected Grogu, and that was cool. But I love the fact that we got to see Sigourney Weaver in a pivotal role, and then we got to see her in an X-wing.
Sigourney Weaver, X-wing pilot.
Right. That was it was so exciting. I loved it. Very excited about that. So.
We just need her in a Star Trek, and she becomes the true queen of space science fiction.
You're not wrong. I feel like
Galaxy Quest was close enough.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I feel like she's been in the
Paul checked a lot of boxes too.
Which
Derek,
Paul,
who's your MVP?
one? Oh, Paul, yeah.
My MVP is Tamora Morrison as Boba Fett. Oh, wait, we didn't get that. Come on. The fact that we were joking around early, Lacey. Come on. Where's my moment for Boba Fett? Come on. You could at least given him 15 minutes back to show up in the movie here, guys. Come on.
There were a couple people missing, like Amy Sedaris. Where was she?
Yeah. There was no Palimoto. We didn't have IG-12 Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
But anyways, missed moments, but digress. Obviously, as mentioned, Grogu and Zellans. Again, that should have been the spinoff series we've had the whole time, rather than bringing him back and forcing the Mandalorian in the corner that they're in with it. But it's great. But I'll go back with Steve, with Zeb. Steve Bloom, I've been a fan of his since Cowboy Bebop, 95. Loved his work and everything that he's done. So, and to think that he's been part of the Star Wars universe since 2002, doing a lot of voice acting. So to really kind of get his moment to shine here was really great. Even if it was just kind of, co-lead moments at times. I really wish he would have had a little bit more moments on screen. But obviously, I get it. He's costly being all CGI. But it was just great to finally kind of see Steve as, kind of a main credit up on the screen, which was an interesting approach that they did this time with the movie, right? We had kind of not necessarily a crawl of text, but we got the prompt at the beginning, which was awesome. And then we kind of got the cast credit at the beginning, which is really a first for Star Wars. So that was cool. But anyways, Steve Bloom would be my definitely MVP.
That's a good choice. But guys, we got some other things to discuss here. We know our MVPs, but let's get into some plot points that we have to talk about with Star Wars. Grogu, Mandalorian, and Grogu. Okay, guys, let's just get right into it. I think one of the biggest things that has been a discussion with fans and has been a sticking point up until this movie's come out, and I think it's still something the fans are discussing, is, was this going to feel like a movie, or was it going to feel like, oh, it's season 4, just cut into a movie format? So I'm really curious from each of you. I would like to find out, did you feel like you just watched a movie, or did you feel like you watched a tourniqueted version of season 4 of The Mandalorian? And did it come across more as a movie or more of a TV moments? Lacey, you shot your hand up right away, so I'm going to go right to you.
Okay, so I have a degree in screenwriting. So from the standpoint of screenwriting, long form versus film, the fact that Jon Favreau has said very clearly that they were going to do season 4, they didn't think they had enough material, so they condensed it. And they said that they did this. This is not something where, you think and you wonder, right? He said this was going to happen. They did it. I think that they hit all the right points. I think that they had an interesting flow, because it kind of did for me. You had the kind of classic opening scene, which was kind of John Wick meets Blade Runner with all the things and the convenient baby carriage, that he jumps, all that kind of stuff, and fighting and all that kind of stuff. And then you kind of go into kind of the Western shogun kind of bounty hunter of it all. And I think that they had a natural progression into that. And I think it flowed really well. So I don't think that there was a problem with what they did, but they did do that.
But what did you feel coming out of the movie? Did you feel like
I thought it was great. I didn't have any questions, or it didn't feel like they missed anything or they were trying to shoehorn everything in. I think that they just put together a really fun series of events, and because the Mandalorian's always, the individual characters are always going to be kind of like a slice of life or like a one adventure kind of film. That's what it's going to happen. And I think that they did that. I think they did it well.
Yeah. Lee, you've had your share of filmmaking. What did you think coming out of the film about this topic that everybody's kind of was talking about and had their concerns about?
I think that if it comes off like an episode of the show, that's perfect. I think it's the right way to do it. If I was to make a comparison, I would say the first Star Trek movie was very cinematic and stylistically completely different. I mean, you just had the same actors, but so many things were an offshoot of it. And then you get into Wrath of Khan, and you get these callbacks to, a minor character from over a decade earlier, almost 15 years. And then you create this classic thing that is very much influenced by the TV show that it came from. They had a bigger budget to do bigger effects, but I think that I don't know a single Trekkie that would say Khan isn't the best of them. They become more cinematic over time, but I think that this is true to the format. I think that if it is episodic, that is also true to Star Wars that started with episode 4. It's true to what George Lucas wanted to do with, kind of the Flash Gordon serials. It's true to what we saw with, it is the first time that we have, as you mentioned, the cast credits in the beginning, but that's not the first time Lucas did it. We did that with all the Indiana Jones movies. So it almost felt more like Indiana Jones in space. And I mean, we've got Indy in Short Round. He gets the hat back, as he always does. But I think the other thing, and it's weird because it's specifically Mandalorian, I was very disappointed watching Clone Wars when they go to Mandalore, and it was not the Karen Traviss novels that I read, which I think were amazing. And obviously Mandalorian has borrowed a lot of the ethos from that. But it's also, as somebody in the business, I have to come to terms with it is, unless I'm involved in it, it's not my story to tell. It is a story that somebody else tells that I get to listen to. And I mean, I've got, coming up on 50 years of living in this world, this beautiful imaginative playground that even the worst of it, if we don't like it, we've still spent, last hour and a half talking about it and a couple hours in the theater. And, some of us did some research before this. I mean, heck, we have a couple crazy people that binge watched, over 20 hours of television just to get ready for this.
35, I think. I don't know.
I wonder who those crazy people are. No idea.
Oh. Speaking of one of those crazy people, Camille, what did you think? Because again, coming right from watching the show, did this feel more like an episode of The Mandalorian to you, like a TV episode, or did it feel like a movie?
I feel like it's one of those things that could kind of be presented as both. There's an anime series that I like that had a movie in between a couple of seasons, and they broke it down into season format for Crunchyroll, and I still think that it worked flawlessly. So I think this is kind of one of those things where, like, I could see it being a season, especially since, again, there's a lot of focus on Rotta. He kind of takes up, I think, like, maybe even like half the spotlight. So I can definitely see it being a season, but I think it also works as a movie. That's my opinion.
Kevin, where are you falling at on this?
So, it's interesting. When going into this, I was looking for cinematic moments, stuff that would kind of set itself aside as a movie as opposed to a Mandalorian TV series. And when you look back at the Mandalorian TV series, you had some standalone episodes. You had obviously ones that had arcs. And characters, some of the characters that are coming out, you also got a peek into the larger world, but not a huge peek. You just got a peek basically of where the Republic was, where the Empire was. They were both around. The Republic obviously has mostly control, but you were also learned about that there was still a criminal underworld and there was still an Imperial remnant that was not going away. So when I went into The Mandalorian, and I got to say, I was actually pleasantly surprised that we got some game-changing moments in this movie, which to me made it definitely feel cinematic. It definitely didn't feel like it was a couple of episodes blotched together because they, either haven't done a season 4 yet or what have you. And so we got, first of all, we got to see where the Republic was, and that they were hunting down these Imperial warlords, and they were using they were using the playing card thing, like that they did in the Gulf War, when they were looking for Saddam Hussein and all of his lieutenants. And I thought that was really kind of cool too. And then also you got to see the Hutts, and if you didn't know already, you knew the Hutts have been crime lords for a very, very long time. And what happened in Nal Hutta was huge, if you think about it, because the Hutts have their hands on so much, the outer rim in the crime world. With 2 major Hutts being killed, what does that do to the power structure of the underworld now? That has to be dealt with. And so I think that was also another thing that was very cinematic to me. And also just bringing characters that we saw on the small screen to the big screen, showing that they can hold their own, I thought was really, really cool. And if I remember correctly, and I'm almost positive that in an interview, Dave Filoni said that, Jon Favreau said that they wrote a season 4, or at least an outline. Then they were asked to do a movie for now, they're not saying they're not going to do a season 4, but we need to get a movie out there. So they wrote something completely new for this, from what I've heard. A lot of people are saying differently, like, no, they just took the best parts of season 4. To me, this doesn't feel like they took parts from season 4. They wrote a brand new story to fit in and do this. And that was what I got out of it. And so it felt cinematic to me.
Camille, what you got real quick?
Yeah, I just wanted to add what you were saying about, what would happen on Hutt now. Does this now mean that we're going to get more Hutt appearances in the new bit of Mandalorian? Or do you know, maybe are we going to get a little spin-off with the Hutts or something? I think the Hutts are really cool, and it'd be really nice to see them explored a little more. So I do think this is a potential open door for that. So I like that you brought that up.
Ellen Ripley nuked them all.
Yeah, exactly.
Nuked it from orbit.
The one thing I was walked out disappointed in this, and I'm on the weird group of people that really like the Book of Boba Fett, because it does deal with like the power vacuums that came after not only the death of Jabba, but the fall of the Empire, which were simultaneously almost, and having these legendary twins show up in the middle of it, like, oh, okay, this is something big, and then having them back down because they know the Pikes are on the way. Losing them is kind of like losing Crossbones in the beginning of Civil War. It's like, oh, we set up these great foils, and then kind of don't. I mean, we got at least a full movie of them being bad guys instead of him dying in the first frame, but it's still like I'm hoping that we get more of like the crime side and the instability side, which I think they've done a really good job of setting up. I just hope they get the time to finish the story.
I agree with everything you said.
Actually, a fantastic, basically the Godfather Star Wars style. The power vacuum it's fun.
Derek, what about you? What did you think? Did you feel more episodic? Like, okay, yeah, this was season 4. Did you feel like it was an actual movie?
Well, first, I just wanted to comment to Lee's point. He's absolutely right. That was my whole point about Boba Fett should have been at this point in the movie, to be able to be the one to come. Because if you really think of it from a larger, cinematic world that Kevin was talking about, the fact that the New Republic literally came and wiped out the Hutts, that just, that's the one thing that bothers me the most, because that's not what the Republic's supposed to do. Yes, they may be upset that the Hutts, but they don't wipe out people. Because you got to remember too, we saw right when they first show them going through the castle or whatever, right? There's probably 10, 15 different Hutts there. They just wiped them all out, right? And now we got this huge, my buddy and I were just talking about, it's like there's a huge power vacuum now. So hopefully they'll get an opportunity to explore it. I mean, because that should open up a lot of things. I mean, we just got off with Maul, season 1, and that's one of the things I wanted more of was, this underworld and the nitty gritty of Star Wars. That's something we don't get to explore a lot. Like, you want to take what you could do with Andor and put it in the underworld of Star Wars, right? We need more solos. We don't need everybody to be a lightsaber.
We're going to get to that here in a little bit too.
But anyways,
yeah.
But yeah, to back to the point though. So and I appreciate that. I was going to call it out if Camille didn't mention it, because I know she's an anime junkie as well to some level. This is exactly what it is, and this is where Americans don't like it. You have these TV series shows that go on, and just like anybody else, studios want to cash in on it, and they have to be able to introduce it to an audience that isn't binging it for 36 hours as the ladies have done here recently. So the idea here is you got to be able to present. So the one thing I loved about the movie here, which you don't feel like you get a whole lot anymore, it was an actual complete story. There wasn't anything, there's some more things we were just talking about, ramifications in the overall, but for the most part, you actually got a complete story out of a movie, which is great. And it's a side, sub bullet. I loved what Lee was talking about. It definitely felt more like Star Trek episode, or Star Trek 1, movie 1, where that was my thing. So to Kevin felt that he was super glad. I felt it was lacking a little bit of that pow that I would have wanted at a cinematic level. Again, some great scenes, some stuff, but there wasn't the reveal of Boba Fett coming in and kicking butt, or again, Luke Skywalker coming in at the end of season 2. Like, that's something I want to see to make me go, wow, like that feeling. and I just think it felt a little flat. But again, as an overall, I think it was great that it was a complete story. And you know, it did, to Lee's point, it did feel like an episode, which is great.
Just without the Boba Fett kicking gum and chewing ass.
Yeah. Steve, what about you? What did you think as far as feeling more movie or episode?
I come from the angle that I don't really care. I know I want these movies to do well, so I want people to go see them. So I know it sort of matters to like maybe younger moviegoers or people that aren't going to the movies. But I think about The X-Files, which was one of my all-time favorite shows that came out every Friday night. And I used to tell people I would go to the theater and plunk down money every Friday to see this at the theater if I had to, and I would smile doing it. So if I like something enough, put it on the big screen. I'll Firefly, Serenity, X-Files turned into movies. Were they great? Maybe not by the time they got there. You know, has the window kind of shut on the excitement for Grogu? Maybe a little bit, but that, you know, is it feel a little bit like a pumped up season or half a season of the show? Maybe. I don't care. I loved it. It was a blast. It had a concise story. It you know, it would have made sense to throw Boba Fett and, more importantly, Black Chrysanthemum in there, in my opinion. You know, you had the Hutts, and this is my favorite part of Star Wars, is the gritty underbelly. I also loved Book of Boba Fett. You know, I like all that kind of cantina, grungy stuff. So I was just happy to see it on the big screen. So I didn't really care, but I know people do, and that's the tricky thing. They had to kind of. And I think that's maybe why we got so much trailers. You know, the first, let's face it, that first kind of Star Wars teaser thing, which never really kind of panned out in the movie, where they were riding like the Tauntaun thing. Was that just for the Super Bowl, or was that supposed to be in the movie?
Yeah, just for the Super Bowl. Budweiser commercials.
Yeah, it was kind of
spoofing the Budweiser.
It was like a Christmassy kind of thing. But I mean, they were on a snow planet, which, you know, I always love. And, you know, but that didn't get really people excited. So I think we got kind of overkill with, you know, trailers and some of the stuff being featured. But overall, you know, I give the movie a big thumbs up. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yeah, I think for me, watching the film, I could definitely feel how it felt structured. Like, okay, I could have seen where this was part one of the season, in the different arcs within the season. That's how the movie structured. But again, that's just me viewing it, knowing it's coming from a TV show. It's just, again, I'm more like Steve. I just want to have a good time, and and the movie worked, and it worked how they did it, how they structured it. It worked very well, and I think that was the most important thing. It didn't feel like, oh, this was season 4. Per se. I mean, it did have moments. It felt like a movie, but I could also see how it could have played out as season 4. And I think it falls somewhere in the middle of that, but I think you get away with it either way. And I think that's where this movie, I think they succeeded at doing it, making it not feel like a TV episode, but I can understand where people would feel that way too. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag, but that's where I am with it. But Kevin, you had an interesting plot point here.
In the interest of time, I'm just going to combine the next two, because I really want to make sure we spend time on the last point here, guys. These could have fallen under trivia and stuff like that, but it was worth a mention. I want to bring the new Razor Crest. A lot of people saw the trailer with the Razor Crest, and they're like, oh, wait a minute, the Razor Crest got blown up in season 2, blah, blah, blah. It was really nice. Sigourney Weaver's Colonel Ward gave Din Djarin a brand new Razor Crest because they found some Imperial warlord that had a stash of vintage vehicles. So I thought that was kind of cool. And Grogu got his old bedroom back. You saw him jumping on it. That was really cool. As Lacey's holding up her Lego version there.
Yeah.
Also,
Kevin, just real quick, as far as Razor Crest goes, I have to quote the Great Yogurt. Marketing.
Yes, this is true. And I just we mentioned him before. I wanted to bring up one of my favorite characters from the Clone Wars, and that's Embo. And I'm really glad that we got a live action Embo. And I think it was you saying, Lee, that it was nice to see someone as badass as the Mandalorian, and that he was able to actually capture him. And so that was very cool. And I loved his little wolf creature here. It says he had a wolf creature, Noba, as a hunting pet named Merrick, not to be confused with the Imperial Inquisitor. Now the promo materials have released that Embo's new Anoba is named Kibu. So I just wanted to bring that to the table.
Okay,
Hold on, Camille.
My little Embo thought that I just wanted to say, I think his fighting style was so unique too, and that's what I really liked about it, because not just using his helmet to deflect the bullets, but I also loved all the like sweeps that he was doing with his legs, and I thought that was so cool to see, because you don't always see a whole lot of fighting styles like that, so it was very pleasing to the eye.
And he had that round ship that looked like his hat.
I know, I thought that was so funny. I'm like, damn, this guy really likes circles.
He's on brand.
Lee, you had some
I was
thoughts?
going to say that the first time we actually see a Razor Crest is in the Magnificent Seven arc, where we're introduced to Embo as well. That's actually one of the bounty hunter ships that they have on that moon. And the other thing, I was really hoping that the Embo's dog was going to be a Vornsker. Those are the Force-sensitive dogs from the Heir to the Empire, and to have that be what neutralizes Grogu would have been pretty cool, but it wasn't. So
Nice.
Derek, your thoughts on Embo and him getting a Razor Crest back?
Not everyone has to chime in. I just wanted to bring it up.
I mean, it was just basically Kung Lao. I mean, at this point, if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, so you know.
There you go.
not to be
Steve,
confused with Gun Pao.
I know you're always a fan of the animal sidekicks, so I think this was a bounty hunter you were liking.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I mean, I thought it was. I didn't really remember. I've watched all the animated stuff, but I didn't really remember the character. You know, and kind of reminiscent of who's the other bounty hunter with the blue face?
Cad
Cad
Bane.
Bane.
Yeah, Cad Bane. A
My
little
favorite.
reminiscent of his build and his style and stuff like that. And I like all the bounty hunter stuff. And it was cool to see Mandalorian get captured like that. Yeah, it was
Chris
cool.
is in the chat. He's the Ghostbusters Chris Cook response. He says, seeing Sigourney Weaver kicking ass in an X-Wing was awesome. Yes, sir, Chris. Good to see you, by the way.
She has a new way to bomb it from orbit, as they would say. But Lacey?
I just love the fact that Grogu pulled a Crocodile Dundee on the space dog, like just nice and snuggles. And
Nice reference. Yeah.
It's what he did to the Rancor,
nice
too.
reference,
Yeah,
Lacey.
yeah, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, I mean, he did. He kind of just because that's me. Any place I go, if there's an animal, you will not be talking to me anymore. You will find me in the corner with the animal.
I did mention that I saw this with my dad when Grogu was trying to push him into the hut and kept on banging his head against the log. Dad leaned over to me loud enough for all of my friends to hear. It's like I always say, kids ruin everything.
Chris says it was satisfying reason for the Razor Crest to come back. Also, I love that the first thing he did with it was gut all the limiters.
Yeah. That's always good. Guys, got a last plot point we want to focus on here, and I think this is important. We are coming up on the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. We have a new big movie coming out in Star Wars Starfighter, but there's something, and I mentioned this on a culture class, so I'm not going to go into my details too much, but where do we go from here with Mando and Grogu, with Ahsoka Season 2 now being pushed back to early 2027, and Dave's movie that was supposed to kind of wrap up everything he planned for his Filoni / Mandoverse? Where are we going with this? Is this kind of this in Ahsoka Season 2 wrapping up this Mandoverse to make way for whatever they've got planned for Starfighter? Do you think we are going to see Grogu and the Mandalorian again? If we've got a new head at Disney, we've got Filoni in charge at Lucasfilm now, it just feels like there's a little bit of different vibe coming from there. I'm curious to know from the panel, each of your thoughts on where we're going with this. Steve, I want to start with you on this because we had a conversation about this a little earlier too.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of cheated. I saw some things written by Filoni or stated by him and Favreau. So, you know, Favreau seems to think that there's a whole lot more that he can put on screen, whether it's the small screen or the big screen, with Grogu. So, are we going to get the Groot, adolescent Grogu at some point? Are we going to see him, age and, become a Mandalorian, a Jedi? Sky's the limit if they want to, stay the course with that. So I don't know. I don't think we're done seeing these characters. And then Filoni, I think he's still going to get that movie done. It's just, we're going to see how this movie does at the box office, and then, how Ahsoka does, and then, probably go from there. But the focus will be on Starfighter, I guess. But I don't think, these characters are being put to bed.
Yeah. Camille?
Yeah, I actually wanted to give an opinion and maybe open a question for everybody else here. What say the series does take the direction of finally exploring the Yoda's species and his history and his planet? Maybe would you guys want that, or would you want it to remain the mystery it's always been? Because I know that I would want it to remain a mystery.
Mystery.
Yep.
Mystery. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it would be so difficult to involve the storytelling when you have a character that's 50 years old and doesn't speak, right? And then Yoda was 900 and something, right? And spoken grammar, right? So I don't know how it would be so hard to. They might be able to do an animated series or something, but I don't know that they'd be able to pull it off as a live action. I don't know that there would be. There's so many moving parts. Are
you talking about Yoda, or what we want to see more from the Mandoverse?
The Yoda question.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay. Well,
as far as the Mandoverse, I don't know what they're planning, but I think that it would be silly to think that they wouldn't keep going with these, because let's face it, Disney wants the cash, and they're gonna crank out as much, as long as the stories still continue to be fun and interesting and entertaining. They can make 30 of them, and I'd be happy.
Derek, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, they laid it out in the movie here. The fact that, obviously Pedro Pascal, is obviously getting into his older years, and so would Din Djarin. So I'd expect at some point that, he'll die as a character, and, Grogu will continue to live on. So, to that point, I don't see it. I mean, the only reason I'd want to see any type of backstory is if we get more Ahmed Best. And we get a little, more, some screen time with him, and what he was able to do to protect Grogu. But otherwise, I'm not too concerned. I think, obviously, heir to the Empire. It's hard to say because, again, Filoni and Favreau. Favreau only wrote The Mandalorian for 2 seasons, plain and simple. And, obviously it became the phenomenon that it did, and where we're at today seeing in the movie theaters. So Disney will just keep trucking money at it and forcing them. I expect Heir to the Empire, to kind of really tie some things at some point with the Mandoverse. But what they decide to do with it after that, we'll have to see what type of new characters they introduce in Ahsoka season 2 and into the movie. That was the one thing I was hoping that they would have given us a post-credit to tie something into Ahsoka season 2 or to Heir to the Empire at some point. But we obviously didn't get it. So, I would expect there's going to be something, but I have no idea.
Is Heir to the Empire the full name of the new Starfighter movie? Is that what's...
No, this is Starfighter is the one with Ryan Gosling. Yeah. Heir to the Empire is the movie now that Filoni is going to do his next movie for Star Wars, which should be coming out in 2029, which is going to basically tie the Mandoverse and Ahsoka together, and then whatever else you do with the Rebels characters.
If we actually get it, that's a big question right now.
What is the focus and the time frame for, as far as the timeline? Where is Starfighter?
This is actually post sequel trilogy, from what I believe.
Okay.
Ray could be in it.
Yeah, Ray. There's
more tied to the Ray movie that we're supposed to get to that they've teased like every other movie and never got. So
Lee, we haven't got your thoughts real quick on what do you think is the future for the Mandalorian and Grogu and what the Mandoverse is?
With as good as everything has been, I think that we are finally going to get a real big clash, because not only just the stuff that we've done in the Mandoverse, but the way that Andor and really the Clone Wars have shown like how easy it is to try and do the right thing and completely mess stuff up. I think that's where we've kind of demonstrated that's where the Republic is right now. Even in the comment you made earlier, like, oh my God, the Republic blew up all those huts. It's like, yeah, that was not the right choice. They wouldn't come in and help save Navarro, but they would blow up a bunch of gangsters because one guy was in trouble. It's a little crazy, even though we love the guy. It was not the proper move. We know we've got Thrawn coming back. We know we've got the power vacuum. We know we've got some angry Pikes out there. Everything that Andor showed us about like, okay, this is tricky. And then we know that General Armitage Hux is on the horizon. We know that, the First Order comes out of something. And I think that we're really setting the stage for the chaos that allows that to happen. The same as the trade blockade allowed for Chancellor Valorum to fall. These are just the trying to do the right thing causes everything to go bad.
Kevin, what do you think?
I think it depends on how well it does at the box office, unfortunately. But my heart would love to have a Mandalorian and Grogu trilogy that is setting the stage for where the New Republic is, the remnants of the Empire, the underworld, the Star Wars gangster underworld, and just kind of continue if we're not going to get a season 4. Because this movie costs less than the other movies did, and so in a way, they can continue doing that if they want to, if they think that it's going to be profitable. I really don't know if we're going to get that Mando that Filoni heir to the Empire at all. I don't know. I just know what we've been told so much, and then just given so little with all the cooks in the kitchen that have been at Lucasfilm for over the years. But they have some really good characters that they showcased in this movie. And yes, there were some characters that were showcased in the TV series that we did not get, that we've been mentioned, and that we could have got. I would have loved to have seen Bill Burr's character pop up for a moment. There's a lot to build on here, and I hope they take advantage of that. Whether it's more a season 4 or if it's another movie or even a straight to Disney Plus movie or something, don't give up on the Mando and Grogu world that they've built. They've built something really fun here, and I think there's something for everyone in this movie and in this series. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff in this movie that catered towards children, and Star Wars movies were made for children. Let's not forget that. Yes, we've gotten older, but the child in me still finds the love for that, and I hope that they can keep the Mandoverse going.
I'm just going to close out with a little bit of information I looked up while everybody was talking. So right now, Star Wars: The Mandalorian and Grogu opened to look to about a global debut, approximately of 165 million, about 102 million domestic, 63 international. These figures do mark the lowest domestic opening weekend for a Disney era Star Wars film, tracking slightly behind the 103 million 4-day debut of Solo, a Star Wars story. But because the film carried a much more modest production budget at an estimated 165 million, industry analysts expect it to have a much smoother path to being more profitable than its predecessor. And that was one of the things with Solo. They had a huge budget. They put a ton of money in marketing. So it was behind the 8 ball. I think this movie is going to make more money too, as word of mouth hits on it. I'm just going to say this, as far as what's the future of the Mandoverse side of this, we'll know when we see Ahsoka season 2. I think that's going to hold the key of what we see in that is going to determine how much more of this we're going to get, if they're still planning to go forward with Dave's movie, or if they try to wrap up the Thrawn overlay storyline in Ahsoka season 2. And I think that's going to tell us a lot about the direction of Star Wars too. So it is going to be a very interesting time. Lacey, one last thing real quick.
I have an idea. I think we should have Rotta the Hutt go. He goes straight, right? And he puts the Anzelians in charge of his empire to turn everything from like smuggling and drug running and all that kind of stuff into a positive, like potentially like an intergalactic dry cleaners, maybe, or something.
Unfortunately, we have the First Order coming, so things of that.
You could run a coffee store called Java the Hutt.
Yeah, there you go. Well, guys, we're gonna wrap things up here and get into everybody's final thoughts. Okay, guys, we've been covering the Mandalorian and Grogu. Thank you for everybody who's been watching on YouTube and if you're listening to this. But let's get into either some hot topics or final thoughts on the Mandalorian and Grogu. You guys have been an outstanding panel, and there's a lot of you here, and it's ran a little long. So I want to just go around and give everybody a chance to get anything that maybe hasn't been said yet. Derek, I know you got more to say on What a Piece of Junk, but what do you got for us here? Final thoughts or anything that we haven't hit that you might want to throw out there?
Yeah, no, I mean, just overall, it's like I said, it's a fun movie. I totally agree with everyone that it is enjoyable. I do feel like though that it missed the mark for me when it comes to big budget box office. But to your point, wasn't necessarily maybe designed to be big budget, which in my mind might have what hurt it then. But again, it is a complete story. Again, coming from a world where in the anime verse, it is definitely flow of continuation of the show, which does great. It's a complete story, and I'll definitely watch it again when it hits Disney Plus, and it'll be interesting to see what they do overall with the series. If we will get then a true season 4 or a season 5, depending on what they want to call it.
Camille, what are your final thoughts here for Mando?
I agree with what Kevin's been repeating. It's fun. I agree with what everybody's been repeating. It's fun. Definitely an experience, I would say, that is worth having. There's just so much nice stuff. It's like a really nice mixed bag of awesome things. So I had a lot of fun. Definitely going to go see it again. And I don't know, I'd recommend it to anybody. It's my final thoughts are just satisfaction.
Well said.
Lee?
I loved it. I'm going to go see it again. I'm going to own it on Blu-ray like I own them all. I'll also say that having grown up in the era when you had your beloved TV show turned into a movie with Transformers and G.I. Joe, this is a hell of a lot better than that. So anyone who's pissed, I will remind you of just the trauma that was Optimus Prime dying and like the nothing burger that was the G.I. Joe movie.
It's been 40 years, Lee. I'm still traumatized.
Yep.
Lacey, your final thoughts.
Love the purse, love the shoes, love all of it. I dug that it had so many different kind of feels to it. I think that my favorite bits and pieces that I wanted all kind of happened. I got the good fights there. We had lots of explosions. Sigourney Weaver kicking ass, I can't remember who said that in the chat. But we get to see more of Grogu. Grogu's learning; he's growing up. We get to see Mandalorian. I think that everything, it hit all the spots that I wanted it to hit. And now that could be because I had just binge watched 4 seasons of information, and this was kind of the culmination of that. But I dug it, and I will definitely be seeing it again probably this week, and I'll definitely have it in the collection eventually.
Steve, what about you? Final thoughts on Grogu Mandalorian or Mandalorian and Grogu?
In 1977, I was a 10-year-old boy and very impressionable. And I've been to every Star Wars movie that's come to the theater, and I will continue to go to every Star Wars movie. And I want them to keep making them. Don't take a break. The people that felt that, we were on, it was too much when Solo came out. They blew it for us because we could have got a sequel if people would have came out. Mm-hmm. Got to support these. I can find something wrong literally with every single one of them, but it's again, I always say it's like pizza. Even bad pizza is still amazing because it's pizza. So I love Star Wars. I love the universe. The recent stuff, Andor, and the recent Maul, Shadow Lord, amazing stuff. And this was, again, fun as hell. I found it extremely entertaining. I'll see it at least one more time at the theater. Maybe Kevin will go with me. Yeah, we'll buy more popcorn buckets. But overall, big thumbs up. I found it extremely entertaining.
Mr. Reitzel.
Extremely entertaining, as Steve says. A lot of fun. I noticed new things each time I went, the 4 times that I went. And I kept kind of going back and forth what some of my favorite scenes were, great character moments. And I really appreciated it as a standalone story, but yet told a larger picture. And I do plan on seeing it one more time because I want to return the favor, because I was 6 going on 7 when I saw the original movie in 1977 here in Santa Barbara at the Arlington Theater. And it changed my life when it came to movies in general. And I'm going to return the favor and take my dad to go see it soon, as he took me to go see it when I was a kid.
Kevin, first of all, I'm doing the same with my dad. So yeah, this movie was fun. And I'm going to just say something here. I feel like we've gotten to a point with our movie experience, and Kevin, I think you'll understand what, and Lacey especially too, will understand what I'm saying. We used to go to movies because we had fun at the movies, and we weren't expecting everything to be this epic, huge thing. And I think a lot of people these days, when they go to a movie, they're expecting everything to just be this epic, huge thing, especially in the era of franchises we have now with all the connectivity and everything like that. This was a fun, standalone Star Wars movie. Yes, it was pulled from a TV show, but it was still its own story. And it was fun. You had the magic of Grogu. You had great Star Wars moments in this. It had the feel of Star Wars. It told its own story. It didn't need to be tied in with a bunch of other things. It told its own story of these characters that for a lot of us, we've grown to love, thanks to a TV show of all things. I mean, who'd have thought that was Star Wars even 15 years ago? Have fun at your movies, guys. Don't worry about whether it's going to drop something epic or not. If you walked out of the theater and you felt like you were entertained, that's the most important thing. And this movie does that if you allow it to. And that's just it. Enjoy your films. This film is so much fun. Take your family, take your little brother, take your cousin, whatever. Take kids to this film. Enjoy this and have fun with it, because that's what it's meant to be. It's not meant to be this epic Star Wars story. Those Star Wars type movies are gonna come again. They're not that far off. But for now, enjoy that we're getting this on the big screen. And you know what? It's a fun film. Grogu steals your heart. How can you not root for the Mandalorian? So with that, guys, we are going to wrap up this episode of Culture Clash here on the Fandom Podcast Network. I want to thank everybody in our YouTube chat, Chris, Ghostbusters, all of you that contributed. If you're watching on your screen right now, again, scan that QR code on your screen. It'll take you to our homepage at fpnet.podbean.com, where you can find 10 years, yes, 10 years worth of audio podcasts on that webpage. A lot of time. It has been a pleasure talking about The Mandalorian and Grogu. And one last thing before we get out of here too, I just want to give everybody a chance to tell people where they can be found on social media, because you have been an awesome panel. And I know you guys all have your things that you're doing. Lee, I haven't seen you in a while. I know you've been busy doing some Fight Monkey stuff though.
Yeah, my stunt team, we do a lot of film fight scenes in all over the Midwest right now. We are the Fight Monkeys. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And yeah, pretty much that. With all the Highlander news coming up, I'm pretty sure Kevin and I are going to be doing some fun stuff coming up with our Blood of Kings podcast. Love to be jumping back on some of these. If you're anywhere near a film festival, go out and watch a couple. There's a lot of people trying to make their bones out there that are making amazing movies that you might be the only crowd that ever gets to see it. But even on bad movies, people work hard and they deserve to have their work shown. So go out there and support independent film if you can.
Where can they find Fight Monkeys? Yeah. Where can they find Fight Monkeys on social media, Lee?
We are on Facebook and Instagram. So we are the Fight Monkeys. There is I don't have any of the patch, but there is a picture of a monkey punching a banana with a Karate Kid style background. I call the monkey Furious George.
Steve, I know you got your own little corner out there, Mr. @Comic Ronin.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, heavily into the comics and pop culture, at Comic Ronin, and I do a lot of reels and unboxings and things like that. All kinds of stuff in the comic world. I also have a sobriety podcast called Craft Free, the weekly sober podcast. Quit drinking 3 years ago and further embraced my nerdism and fandom with much more clarity. So yeah, I've been doing the podcast. I did it this morning, episode 78, every week, 78 weeks. So that's again, Craft Free, the weekly sober podcast on Spotify.
Derek, we can find you bouncing around with Scott and Nathan and whatever mess you make on the Drunken Gungan. I got the last cleaning bill, by the way. We got to have a conversation.
It's all that Wookiee hair, man. Gotta tell Nathan he's got his own little. Gotta get a little droid robot vacuum cleaner.
Do some manscaping.
Yep. Basically, as you mentioned, Kyle, appreciate it. Yeah, the Drunken Gungan takes off with What a Piece of Junk, a Star Wars podcast. Been doing it. We just recorded episode 177, I think, and this will be 178 when the guys get back from ScottCon and we hit the next recording. So it's a lot of fun stuff. Obviously, part of the passion we have is, I want more Star Wars stuff to talk about. So I hope they continue to give us great shows like we've had recently, and along with the movie to talk about. So find me over there, and obviously on the Facebook group. Try to entertain folks with either news or just things that's going on, or even some of the funny Facebook reels you might see coming across. Like to share those as well.
Lacey, I know you don't do much on social media these days, except when you appear here on the network, which we always appreciate. But people can find you on Letterboxd still?
I'm on Letter. That's what I was going to say. You were going to say, where can I find you online? I was going to say, you can't. But I go to all the cons. Find me at Huntsville, or I'm going to go to Iron City this next Saturday, or Dragon Con. I'm around. Find me IRL. We'll chat.
Camille, we're gonna have you on around a little bit more on some Fandom Podcast Network stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to show up more. Especially, this was a really fun podcast to do with everybody else, and I hope I fit in okay.
Oh, you always do, and we appreciate you.
Did a good
coming
job
on. So
appreciate you guys having me,
Kevin. I think where people know where they can find you, but why don't you give them a quick reminder?
You can find me at Spartan_Phoenix on all the socials, and of course here on the Fandom Podcast Network and on Facebook.
And of course you can find me, Kyle, on all the socials, either at AKyleW on X and Blue Sky, or on Kyle Fandom on Threads and Instagram. And of course you can find me at Kyle Wagner on Facebook and all over the Fandom Podcast Network pages on Facebook. And of course you can find the Fandom Podcast Network itself at FanPod Network on most of your social media's out there.
Thanks to everyone that was watching and participating in the chat. We appreciate you.
Steve, we're all coming over to your place for blue cookies. I'm just saying.
I got your cookies here.
Yep.
And a special thank you to all the Grogus that participated in this stream.
Yes.
Grogus. We have Grogus.
Everyone get your Grogus. Everyone get your Grogus. You need to do a Grogu roll call.
Yep.
I didn't know we were supposed to do that. Sorry.
Guys, it's been a pleasure. We've had a lot of fun. Thank you. You were a wonderful panel. With that, we have done this thing, ladies and gentlemen. So, as always, remember, respect each other. And most importantly, enjoy your fandom. May the force be with you. We are out of here.